Welcome everyone back to MBB Adventures. It's Michael and
Brianna.
what are we doing today, Bri?
We are going to tour the Walt Disney's birthplace home.
Yep, we are in Chicago, Illinois. Walt Disney was born here December 5th of 1901 in a house just down the block here, so we're going to go check it out. If you haven't already, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and join us on all our adventures. We love Disney stuff, so we're going to go do this. Join us. Alright guys, here it is. Oh look, they got a little library. But this is the Disney birthplace. You can scan this QR code if you want to get tickets. But they only do tours once a month. Tickets are, I think, $25. And yeah. Alright guys, here we go. We're going to take the Walt Disney Birthplace tour. This will be our guide.
Alright.
Here we go.
So I guess you're it. So I'm glad you came. There's no limitations on recording photos, videos, live streaming, so feel free to do whatever you'd like. So I'm Tony DeMonte. I'm one of the volunteers here, and like you guys, fan of Walt. Went on a tour with my wife. My kids didn't come because, you know, they're more of the parks people, but loved it so much. I spoke to Ray. I said, how can I volunteer here? And he's like, well, you could just come and give tours and sell merch. And I've been doing that ever since. And it's really neat to connect with Disney fans.
Yeah.
I would assume you're here because you're aficionados of Walt or the parks or all the above.
A little bit of all.
This is one of those, take care. Yeah, this is one of those places that not a lot of people have been, so you're one of the few that have been here. This has only been open up for tours since last July, and it's only open for tours one Saturday each month.
That's what we caught, and
Yeah.
then it was very small on that.
Come to Chicago, moved to Chicago during the 1893 World's Fair, so there was a lot of need for housing, and Walt's father, Elias, was a contractor. In fact, if you go on Main Street in Disneyland, it lists all the names on the windows, and you'll see Elias Disney Contractors written underneath.
Yeah.
So that was his profession. That's how Walt viewed his father, even though Elias had done and failed at quite a few things. He had a variety of different professions, and but anyway, the one that Walt remembers him as is the contractor. So Elias's brother Robert kind of enticed him to move here as well. They were very close. When they came here, so Elias and Flora, they came with Herbert and Raymond. So you always hear about Roy and you hear about Walt, but there were two older brothers. So Herbert and Raymond, they came here with Elias and Flora. And that was when they purchased the house, October 31st, 1891. So it was a couple of years prior to the World's Fair. So on 1892, November 23rd, 1892, Elias got a permit to build the house, the 18 by 28 wood cottage, for about $800. He was able to keep the costs low by doing the work himself, contractor. Flora, interestingly enough, was a school teacher, but drew up the architectural plans for the house. So she wasn't an architect by trade, she didn't have any formal training, but she drew the plans for this, which at that time was pretty progressive and actually quite amazing.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah, it was. So in early 1893, that was 2 years after they had gotten that permit, the four members, Elias, Flora, and then Herbert and Raymond, the two older boys, they moved into the house. And then shortly after that, Roy Disney, who sometimes you hear about, he was born in this house. So this is not just a place where Walt was born, but in the very same room, Roy Disney was born as well. In addition, there was a fifth child, Ruth, the youngest and the only girl. She was born in this house. So it's not just the Walt Disney birthplace, it's Roy and Ruth.
So 3 of the 5 were born in this house.
That's correct.
Wow.
Yeah, a lot of significance.
That's very cool.
Yeah, it is. So originally the home did not, you'll see this elevated porch here, the home didn't have that. So that was raised to reduce flooding damage in the 1920s. So this house was actually, if you could just imagine it without the basement, it was at grade. There are two more houses. Oh, I should probably point out before I mention this. So if you come to the side, you'll see the yellow siding. The yellow siding is the original house as it would have been when the Disneys built it and moved in. That back color, the green, were additions after the fact. So they had moved out. And over the course of over 100 years, there were a lot of families. This became just a standard 2-flat in Chicago. There was a family living downstairs and there was a family living upstairs.
Okay.
So when the owners who now work under a foundation, the CESI is the short name for the Center for Early Childhood Creativity and Innovation. They created a foundation to now manage this property. They are animators that live out in California. So they are Walt aficionados. They knew that he was born here, knew the significance of that, and they sat for years until this property became for sale. So, you know, Elias and Flora planned and built it, and then they moved out in 1906. Where the story continues is in Marceline, Missouri, where people have heard of. So, and they did that primarily to move away from crime, as a lot of people tend to do when they live in the cities. They wanted to raise their kids in more of a safe setting. But anyway, and then when the current owners, Brent and Dina, bought the property, that was, I think, 2013, they had plans to restore it to the way it was when the Disneys lived here. So that's why they chose to have the two different colors, right?
Okay.
They wanted people to kind of imagine what it was like when they lived here. So kind of ignore the green part that was put on through the years.
Yeah.
There's a washroom and office in the first green part. In the back is like the stairs. It's like back porch, like a lot of places in Chicago.
Okay.
And obviously the garage would not have been there at the time that they built it. So yeah, and so Brent and Dina, they created the foundation, raised a bunch of money. There's a lot of small dollars that have been put toward this project, some larger ones. So there's no shame in what they've done. You'll see on the other side of the fence, people have donated to get their names on the fence slats.
Okay.
In the windows, you'll see names everywhere. Those are donors. Some names are just people that went on the tour and want to leave part of them
I
here.
saw the bricks, but
Bricks is another way. You can go on the website. There's two different sizes of bricks. After I did the tour, I talked to my wife. I'm like, we gotta leave our names here, so I even have a brick there because my wife, me, and my kids' names on it. It's just a way to give back and kind of keep your name here.
Yeah, there's all the bricks.
What are all the ribbons on
and then there's bricks leading up to the thing too.
So the ribbons on the trees, those were from Creativity Days. So there's a lot that goes on here. So so Ray, the guy that came out, he's the project manager for, he's the local guy.
Oh, okay.
So the owners are back in California. Ray's like the local person who tries to, he comes every, the last Saturday every month to give tours. He also organizes events around this house. So one of the events is it corresponds with Roy's birthday. And they have Creativity Days where there's like a block party, there's events that kids can do. There's the Creativity Tree that was donated. The ribbons are some from those events. There's even some videos online that you can find. Dick Van Dyke was here and kind of shoveled to plant that tree and threw some pixie dust in there, and you can hear him sing "Let's Go Fly a Kite." There's a video of that online when he was standing on the porch. My understanding is Chitty Chitty Bang Bang was also here too. So yeah, it would have been neat to see. That was before tours opened up. The other events that they do, so that's where the ribbons come from. The other event they do is on Walt's birthday. So they invite school kids from Nixon Elementary. There's a postcard contest, and the winner of that contest gets to go light the candle in Walt's birth room. And they have a Santa here. They get everybody here singing "Happy Birthday." I mean, it's like it gives you goosebumps and makes you So that's every December 5th. You can come and anybody can come and.
I think Santa Mickey should come.
It was pretty neat. There was a Mickey here when the 100th exhibition came to Chicago a few years ago. There were a lot of Disney executives that were in town because of that, and Ray will tell you he was giving tours to a lot of them, and there was a Mickey here at that time. They brought in a Walt Disney World Mickey with the whole eyelids that close, and there's someone kind of controlling that from the side. So there has been an official Mickey here on site.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it is.
Very cool.
So anyway, the other parts of the story before we go inside is that Elias's contractor actually built 2 other homes, 2114 and 2118 Trip, and so those were, one has kind of been rehabbed, but the other one is very much in a state of like when it probably was when Elias built it. That was used for inspiration. So there's only one surviving picture of Walt and Ruth standing on the porch of this house, and they tried to do like the door restoration from that, and they did. They partnered with Garner Holt of Garner Holt Productions, who's an animatronics maker, and he actually made that screen door and the main door.
Oh, cool.
The bay window was inspired from one of those 2 properties that Elias built. So they went over there and asked the owner, can we take some pictures, measurements? And so they created that based off of the other one that Elias built. Yeah, so that's pretty neat. You also, if you didn't see it already, the Honorary Disney Family Avenue. So it's the longest honorary street in Chicago. So yeah, the Armitage to Fullerton is where that goes. And in addition to the 2 homes, Elias also helped build, you heard me talking to this one lady about, she was looking for the church.
Mm-hmm.
So very religious family. There's a church 1 block this way, and you go over the former St. Paul's Church, and at 2255 North Keeler. So the very interesting fact about that is Walt was named after the pastor of the church, who was a good family friend. So Walter Parr was the deacon. I'm sorry, Elias became the deacon. Walter Parr was the reverend. So Elias became the deacon, Flora became the church treasurer. Elias named Walt after Walter Parr, and then in turn, Parr named their son Walter Elias Parr. So they each named one of their kids.
That's
yeah,
cool.
It is neat, but not a lot of people know where Walt's name came from. And now you do. So let's see.
I mean, that would have been the people that would have been inspiration in your life at that time too, because
Yeah.
I mean, you didn't have film to watch and have role models of actors and stuff like that. So
No, and Walt was young when they were here, but it's also the formative years. So
yeah.
it's you can, like, I've made a lot of connections having now shared this story with so many people. It's like, oh, that now makes sense. Like, Walt's dad was a contractor, so Walt would always see him building things and making things, or his mom was a school teacher, and Walt was homeschooled until age 7. But
yeah,
they came from, and she was a school teacher in Florida. I looked up one time, like, where exactly was it? Because I'm curious, and I looked at Google Maps and where they said they were from. 15 minutes away from Walt Disney World.
Oh.
You never hear, like, you always hear about, oh, there was land and there were major highways, and maybe that's why, and nice weather all the time.
Yeah.
But no one has ever, I don't think, has ever made the connection that she, Walt's mom, was from, that can't be coincidental. 15 minutes away from where Walt Disney World was built. There's got to be stories or a book out there somewhere.
Mom probably shared a bunch of stories and told him of like Florida or something.
Just think, when you're younger and she talks about it, and how that sticks with you, and then so that can't be coincidental. I told you that Elias was involved in failed at quite a few things, so they moved in 1906. They ended up coming back, and the reason why they came back is Elias had been an early investor in Ozell, which was a soft drink company. So it was the temperance movement. There was a lot of hard liquor, and it was an answer to give an alternative for people who didn't want to drink hard liquor. So he was an early investor. He was a plant manager. He actually had purchased stock for a bunch of members in the family. Walt himself had worked at the Ozell factory here in Chicago to earn money to pay for evening drawing classes. And it didn't last very long. In the 1920s, Ozell Soda closed up shop. But the owners, as a part of this project, again, big Walt fans, they decided to buy the rights to Ozell. And they actually brought the company back, and now you can buy the sodas, and yeah, it's a neat thing.
Where can you buy the sodas at?
There.
Oh, okay.
At the end.
Rocket Fizz carries them too, I think.
That's it.
Oh,
Yeah.
Rocket Fizz. We have one. We're from downtown. We're from East Indianapolis.
Oh, sure. Yeah,
So,
Rocket Fizz is
yes,
the
Rocket
distributor.
Fizz is-
Yeah.
yep.
Yeah, so they, but yeah, the owners, Dina and Brent, they own now the rights to Ozell. So another part of the Disney story preserved. Whether you want to buy it or not, I do like the fact that they're preserving
That's cool.
history with these things. So the porch, luckily there was some aluminum siding. I told you about the yellow, which was the original house.
Yeah.
There was a lot preserved. There was this really ugly aluminum siding that was on there, but it did a really good job of preserving what was underneath, which was good for maintaining what the colors would have been like at the time, or preserving the property since it was built in 1891. We talked about the door, talked about the porch. I think inside. Okay, so I told you the small dollars, large dollars. So I told you small dollars. The large dollars, so this isn't affiliated with the Walt Disney Company, but they're very, very aware of it because of the 100th exhibition. Executives from all different divisions of Disney have been here. In fact, the company had donated $250,000 toward the restoration of this house. So they are extremely aware. I've had people say I'm surprised they don't come and just buy it or whatever. I don't know, they haven't, but they haven't done that in like Marceline either. So,
Right.
but they are very aware, and every now and again, even on a tour, I'll get somebody like I work for the Disney Company, or I work for Disney Plus, or I work for.
Yeah.
It's like, oh my gosh, are there that many people that work for Disney that are Disney fans? Like, and I think there are.
Cool.
Like, you almost have to be a fan, I guess. Anyway, let's go in.
Yeah.
Let's go inside. Yeah, there's a lot of pavers.
All right, guys, we're gonna go in, but here's the bricks.
From the city of Chicago
Okay.
to, if they get enough donations, to put pavers on all of the boulevard here.
Like property line to
Yeah,
property line. kind of
yeah,
thing?
because usually that part's owned on by the city.
Got it.
From the sidewalk to the street, but they have
Yeah.
permission from the city to do those pavers all the way around if they wanted to. So. Yeah, I know, right? Like, they're already surviving. Garner Holt created that. This door, Garner Holt created this. And then just go ahead and push the door shut. I'll even show you one more thing. There's a stained glass piece above the door in the transom. That was donated by an artist by the name of David Bird. It's the Disney family crest that you would see at Disneyland. It's not original, but it is a very, very beautiful piece that was donated.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Cool.
People have, all these Disney fans, some of them are in positions of being able to donate things, as you've heard. Even the posts out there, those are donated by someone in Washington, near Seattle. People have really donated quite a bit. So you're in the front parlor. This is all restored. So that back wall right there, the green section is beyond it. That was not original to the house. So that wall right there would have been the end of the property when the Disneys lived here.
Okay.
I also, before we begin, want to also point out there is a poster and a frame in each room of the house. The owners have partnered with the Chicago Architectural Society, and every October there's a Open House Chicago where they open the properties. These were put in 2 years ago because there was just hundreds. You can look it up in news articles, but this was 2 years ago. This was the most popular house on. They open up all kinds of properties in Chicagoland. 750 people walked through here, so there was no time for a guided tour. They didn't get all the details, but they put these posters up which tell you the function of the room when the Disneys lived here. So feel free to take a pic of that. But It's happening again in October.
That was
so.
just the express version.
Yeah,
Fast
they got the
pass.
express.
Fast
No
pass.
talking, no details. They just got that. But
Yeah.
my understanding, I was here the second year, and it was insane. But the first year, I guess, was wrapped all the way down the block, and then all the way down the next block
Because they can
over.
only limit how many people come in the house.
That's correct. And when Elias built this house, like, he didn't build it for tours, right? Like,
Right.
and there weren't like groups of tours, so we limited it to 15 people at a time, and it was a lot. So last October was pretty big, and it's on the tour again for this October. But in any case,
Oh, and this is that picture.
this is
you're
the
saying?
one surviving picture of Walt and his younger sister Ruth. You will notice that the numbers are different. It's the same house, same location. That hasn't changed, but it was annexed in this area. The Hermosa area was annexed into Chicago, and then took on the grid system, and the numbering system changed. But yeah, you can see that. So that's what Garner Holt modeled the door after. And you can see it's at grade. There's no basement underneath.
Okay.
So basement was raised later. Yeah, it's the one surviving picture. Kind of colorized and blown up there. So you heard that Elias was a contractor. So how do you get work as a contractor? Well, you gotta have a model home to show people what you can do. So there were a lot of decorative elements in this house that were not normal. And so it's speculated that Elias was using this house as a showpiece to get work. So the bullseye molding, the rosettes, those were all over. These were put in afterward. That would not have been normal at the time. This house also had something that no other house in the area had: indoor plumbing.
Oh.
And it's not that Elias and Flora were rich. They absolutely were not. But Elias was trying to get work. So there was indoor plumbing underneath the stairs. That is the one, and you can peek in there. They left it untouched during the restoration. When we go around, I'll show it to you.
Okay.
That was the one room that appeared to be left untouched through the years. It had different purposes through the years, but and that's how they were able to determine the molding around. So like that style molding in where the washroom was, the wash closet as they called it, they took how that looked, and that's what they used around the house. The rosettes were in there. I mean, they took it as inspiration when they restored this.
Yeah.
They worked with someone from they worked with an architect, a preservation architect, and some students. And they did a forensic analysis of paint layers. So they, in this room it had...
So this just wasn't a guess. This was a
this
research.
was not. This was researched. Yeah.
Very cool.
Charles Peitel was his name, and I think he was from. I don't want to get it wrong. He's the program director. So Ann Sullivan was the program director. The Charles Peitel was the adjunct professor and from the Historical Preservation Department at the School of Art Institute of Chicago. Waltz shared a bedroom.
Okay.
So you always hear about their relationship, how close they were. Well, yeah, when you see how small that bedroom is, when you share a bedroom with someone that small, you're going to form a close bond.
Yeah.
So all these things start now connecting to what you've seen and heard about. So this is the dining room. None of the furniture is original. It's period correct, not original. They don't want to put in and fully furnish it because they would never, you saw the size of the 12 o'clock tour.
Yeah.
We would never get people through here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they're thinking about being like animators and in that space. They're trying to think of digital ways to kind of represent furniture. To come, this is going to be a window looking out at the backyard, but not a real window.
An image of the backyard,
Yeah,
where it would have been.
Yep, so that's going to be a TV set vertically, and they're going to animate looking in the backyard of what it would have been during those years.
That's just like when you go to Hollywood Studios and it's the
Yes.
Walt's Vision.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep, and then, also, you were talking about the restoration and nothing's by accident. Yeah, even the windows were actually put back to where they were. So when they started removing the plaster and all that, they saw where the original windows were.
Because you would have had it notched.
They put it back. And then the windows themselves, they put in Victorian era windows to match what would have been at the time. So it was an expensive restoration. Like this.
Right, because they probably would have had windows just like the one.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of houses. Yeah. Or if you go look at 2114 or 2118 North Trip, like that's probably.
Because they could have looked at those houses too to figure out what the windows look like.
These are the owners with one of those Mickeys from Walt Disney World. So Dina and Brent, I have yet to meet them, but yeah, they work at Studio 78 in California. So they, yeah, they're not local, but this is a labor of love for them, which is cool. I like when fans.
Now, do they come for some of the?
So they do. They didn't come this past year, but they normally come for Walt's birthday, December 5th. When the Santa's here, they have the school kids here and all that. So she didn't come this last.
Well, Disneyland was prepping for 70th too. So
who knows why? Well, actually, I think I do know. I think when were the wildfires? I think there was something going on with the California wildfires, and they were somehow impacted. So I believe that's why she didn't come. But I was hoping to meet her. But that's fine.
Next year, it's coming year, right?
The other thing to note is, well, we'll look at it on this side. So which is the kitchen? They likely wouldn't have such a big kitchen. They probably just would have had one, cold water only coming in. But so this is the chimney stack. Important to note because back then the heating elements, the stove for cooking, that was how we were able to determine whose room was whose upstairs. So, like the heating element wouldn't have been in the room with the youngest kids. So the heating element would have been in the room with Herbert and Raymond, the older kids, because they would know not to touch it. One interesting thing is when the restoration was taking place, they ripped open the wall and found a horseshoe. We don't know if that was original to Elias or not. Did it come afterward? Who knows? But there was a horseshoe inside of there, and Dina now has an inner office. The project lead, Ray, who was leaving as you guys came, he has a weekly meeting with them, and he says through Zoom or whatever they use, he said he can see it hanging behind Dina during the call.
Maybe cool to do not necessarily carpet dating, but some kind of dating.
I hear you. Well, you talk to Ray, Ray's like, oh, I wish that was here because it's such a cool part of the story. But I'm sure she has it with her to bring her good luck in her endeavors.
So this is their thought of where they
these were renditions of maybe what it was like, just to give you an idea of what it may have looked like. It's not based on any photos, it's just likely would have kind of give you a feel of what it would have been. So that wash closet that I talked about, here it is, nothing exciting, but it's the project's architects didn't know, they knew there was a washroom, they couldn't find it. Ray had gotten some historic papers from the water department and had them delivered. So the Chicago Water Department employee walked in and goes, oh, that's where the toilet was. So it wasn't, the architect of the project had no clue. The water department worker identified it, and it was due to the ventilation stacks and a couple other things. And sure enough, this is where the toilet was. And what's hilarious about this is you guys are Disney fans, that's why you're here. But on the Open House Chicago by the Architectural Foundation, when I was here and they were coming through, they loved the fact that this was one of the first toilets in the area, and they were just enamored by that because they're all architects. Many of those people were here because the symbolic nature of the architect and what that was for Chicago. You guys are here for the Disney part, but they were like, "Oh, this is where this was." Yeah, they loved it. But the molding that they replicated. This was very untouched, so they made the conscious decision to leave it untouched. Yeah. So.
Very cool.
Yeah, I'm like, is that the original floor?
Well, no, that I don't know. I can tell you out here it's not original, but upstairs it was. There was a layer of oak that they peeled back, and the original wood floor is upstairs. The one they know for certain is the bedroom, but we believe the whole upstairs it was protected through the years. And that was kind of neat because they could tell where the walls were based on the original floor. So they they moved walls based on the original where the original walls were. Yeah, they put in some money into this project. Yeah. Here's where it talks about that.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah.
We went to the Pullman.
Okay.
And we just saw that.
Yeah, we just saw this style of toilet at the Pullman Museum.
I mean, it wasn't the first, but he was the first to have it in this. Right. One of the first to have it.
Same time frames, though. I mean, yeah.
No, there's architectural semblance here. Yeah.
Yeah. That's awesome.
I think that the stairs are original, not the banister. The banister was rebuilt, modeled after one of the two homes down the street, but there's a good chance that the actual stairs themselves are the same ones that Walt climbed up when he was young. Yeah, they're not.
I'm gonna go with the original stairs, guys.
My family has a house from the 1900s.
Oh yeah, these are narrow.
And so they are just like the stairs we have.
These are narrow.
So, and we were talking about the floors, like you can just see, right? There was a layer of wood on top of these. These were original. I'm sure of it. So.
It makes sense. Look at it.
Yeah, remember that chimney stack I told you?
Yeah.
Here it is.
Maybe not that piece, but yeah.
Not that new one. Here's the chimney stack. Heating element would have been in here. Talks about that there. That's how we know Herbert and Raymond were in this room. And then next door is Walt's bedroom.
So these are Walt's two older brothers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So back here, this is Walt and Roy's room. This is the end of the house, right? When the Disneys were here. Look how small it is. So you see what kind of bond they had working together. I mean, how they had to. I mean, they bonded. They had to have bonded in here.
Into the house, so probably one bed went this way and the other bed went
that
this
I don't know. We have no pictures of that, but I don't think bunk beds were necessarily a thing back in the day.
He was an engineer and carpenter. He probably built them at one bed.
My dad.
So yeah, this is just the back part. We'll go there last.
That's cool.
All right, so
Trike.
now for the room
Walt and Roy's bedroom. Wow, that's awesome.
So
It's the room in the front upstairs.
it is. As you were standing outside, remember how I told you the school kids like candlelight?
Oh, yeah.
Walt's birthday, so they get to come up here and do it. Santa's on the porch, and I guess most of the time the owner's here, Ray's here. They have a principal from the Disney Magnet School that comes, principal from Nixon. It's actually pretty neat. But so in the main bedroom, we're very reasonably sure that Walt, Roy, and Ruth were born in this room. The small space behind you might have been used as a sewing room by Flora, or a nursery for Ruth, because as you now just went through the upstairs, Ruth didn't have a bedroom.
Okay.
So that probably was it. So after they, here's a kind of a neat surprise. After the flooring was ripped up, they found a vault that was underneath the top layer of the wood. So I told you a lot of notable Disney people have come through here through the years. One of them was Becky Klein from the Disney Archives. She saw this. She's like, I think I have the object that was in there. Cigar box fits the exact dimensions given to her by Roy's relatives and would have included like the deed, important papers. There wasn't a safe. So this is where Elias would have put all those important papers.
That's really cool.
Yeah, it just opens up. It's a neat little space, and that cigar box that Becky Klein has at the archives fits perfectly.
Perfect.
Yeah. So
that makes 100% sense.
yeah, it jives, and it's kind of neat.
Yeah.
That's
So
cool.
I told you like a lot of small dollars. Here's the window. Like all the windows have something, but sometimes you catch like Joanna Miller. That is the great grandchild of Elias and Flora. I believe she's the grandchild of Roy. So in this, also who stood in this room is so Joanna and then Roy P. Disney has stood where you're at, in addition to Disney executives and stuff like that. So there have been families that have come through here. That's cool. And donated. It is. So, yeah. So therein lies the story of the house. I don't know how big Disney fans you guys are, but this is where, through the years, or in the last 9 months since I've been doing this, like I've had people cry, I've had like goosebumps on people, and it's like, I don't know, to just stand here. And what really floors me about the story is that for like 100 years, a bit over 100 years, nobody knew. Like there was like, this was a Chicago 2-flat. This room that you're standing in was the living room of that upstairs apartment forever.
Okay.
So people were kicking back on a couch, watching TV in here, not realizing like you are in the room where Walt was born.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, to me, that's like a big deal. They probably had no idea. I think some through the years had an idea. I'm not sure if any of them really. There were people that probably didn't care.
I don't know. I would think if you knew, you wouldn't let that go.
I don't know. There was.
Or you don't care. You're a Universal fan. I don't know.
Yeah, there was a lady who came through here who said like one of her relatives was a tenant here, and I asked her like, did she know? And she seems to think they did know, but she also wasn't the owner. She was a tenant here, so I don't know.
Right.
You know, it's not like she could try to sell the house for a lot of money or anything.
Right.
Yeah, so it's pretty exciting. So they're in the parlor. When we first came in, there's a guest book. Feel free to sign the guest book. We've had a lot of people through the years who signed that. 2 months ago, I had the guy that for 25 years played Eeyore on Main Street in Disneyland.
Oh,
He
wow.
came for a tour. So if you go like 2 pages back, you see he signed his Eeyore.
Oh, I love that. I think that's so cool.
I'm like, dude, you're a celebrity. Like, can I get your picture? And he's like, yeah, sure. So I got a
I love that.
and he drew me a little Eeyore and signed the Eeyore. He like owned Eeyore. But yeah, when you go look at the desk, go back like 1 or 2 pages.
Yeah.
Eeyore's here. They no pressure, but they do have a little bit of merch in the back. They don't. It's just the small dollar stuff. There's no requirement to buy anything you see, and it's mostly following the Disney tradition of like everything's for sale.
Yeah.
But it's credit card only or exact cash. Again, no pressure. And this is the Ozell. They brought back the brand, and then through Rocket Fizz, as you can see. It's
There it is.
yeah. So they have 5 of the 6 flavors. They're $5 each, or 6 for $25. There's ornaments, 1 red, 1 green. Those are $12 each. These are $2, $5, $2. Very limited pitch t-shirts because they're getting ready to refresh, but everything's $25.
Okay.
So if you're interested, fine. If not, that's fine too.
Well, we're Disney pen collectors, so I should probably get the pen.
The one that has and then the sizes of stuff are like hit and miss. So.
You're fine. We do not.
And again, no pressure. But some people like to, it's merch. Some people.
That's cool.
What's this shirt?
Yeah.
The that one, these are the only large, medium, small, no XL. That one with the house that says 10 years, that was like an anniversary. That's only 2X. A lot of these shirts reflect the flavors, which it's cool if it's kind of like not everyone knows what Ozell is, but yeah.
Walt was here, so was I.
That is like the one that. Oh, there's also stuff on the website too. Different T-shirts that aren't here. So if you go to the website, the paper's there. There's different T-shirts there.
Okay.
But the one thing I like about that, I think that's cool. Like you stood.
Cool.
Like when you walked
I
into
did
the
kinda
house,
like
like little Walt walked. Like you were standing where Walt walked
day
in.
to day. Yeah.
That's kind of neat.
He probably slammed the door. And...
Probably slammed the door. Yeah, that's pretty cool.
That's so cool.
And I haven't been to Marceline, but it's totally on my list because that's where this.
Yeah, we haven't either.
Yeah, we need to go to Marceline.
Well, everyone's heard of Marceline, but this is where it started from, so
Yeah.
I gotta go though. It's on my bucket list. Okay. Yeah, so that's what's
They need to do like a.
And I forgot to mention a portion of the merch you buy goes towards, you know, like restoration, donation of the house and stuff like that. So it's really cool. All right, guys, when you stop by the Walt Disney Birthplace house, make sure you sign the registry here. And the tour guide gave us an interesting fact that, like, there's some people that have signed this that you might want to, like, flip through and look up. He said one of the people that played Eeyore came and signed it as Eeyore, like, 2 pages back. But there we go. Michael and Brianna from MEB Adventures. So if you come check out the registry book, look for us, like and subscribe. What'd you find, Bri?
So, thanks for a lovely tour. Just me, Eeyore, when Eeyore came by.
That's awesome. Alright, we're going to show you a little bit of exterior of the house. So they get the white picket fence all the way around. He was saying this tree and ribbon was part of the 100-year celebration that they did here. This is very cool. There's a photo inside the house of Walt and Ruth on the porch up here. That's super cool. Pretty easily findable on Google also. And then the yellow is the original, where this green stripe is right down here in the middle. That's where the addition was.
And the basement's not really.
So the backyard would have started about right here instead. So all this was not here. But the tour guide was saying also that in interviews they've talked to Roy Disney and stuff about his time living here, and from what he remembered, there was an apple tree back here. And
Why not the original apple
yeah,
tree?
they planted an apple tree right over here, but it's not the original one. And then that garage was not here, so they probably had a decent sized backyard if you take away this addition here and in that garage. But yeah, that was awesome. So as a side note, bonus footage of our Walt Disney Birthplace house. The tour guide said that Elias Disney also built the residences at 2118, which is right here, and 2114, which this one has been restored, and this one is more like in an original state. But Elias Disney built these 2 houses.
And if you look, it's got the same, both of them have the same corners,
Yeah,
like trim and stuff.
that's cool. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed the tour of the Walt Disney Birthplace house in Chicago. That was awesome. We were like sifting through the registry book. Only just south of 300 people, maybe like 280, 300 have signed that registry book. So not very many people have done this so far. And we got us some merch.
I only picked this one because she wants in the back.
Yeah.
We got the postcard. Michael got the t-shirt.
Yeah, it's
Kind of like the sign.
yep.
And then I got the pen. But Eeyore has also signed the book, so that's really, really cool. And we showed that. So that is fun. And I think it's an ongoing project. So this isn't, they have a foundation, they have restoration, it's going to keep going. So if you come in 6 months, if you come in a year, something's going to be different. I think we want to come back in a year or so and see what they've gotten done. So it'll be really cool just to see how all they do everything.
Yeah, piece by piece, it'll come along.
Yep.
So, all right, well, yeah, hope you enjoyed the tour. I got like chills down my spine, like being in some of those rooms. Like it was
really cool.
It was really cool. So, thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, and until our
Next adventure. See you then.
bye, guys.